Hi everyone. My name is Mark Gallivan, and I'm a staff member and a graduate and a current parent at Alpine Valley School. And I'd like to tell you about something that happened to me recently. I was at a conference which was not at all related to education and got seated at a table with a group of other educators. We became the teacher's table. And while we were waiting for the lecture to begin, my table mates started chatting and engaging in some good-natured complaining about things they were seeing in their classroom and their experience of the students. Mostly that they felt they were addicted to video games, social media, their phones. And at one point, things started to get a little bit less good-natured. And one woman said to me, "I don't know what it is, but kids just keep getting stupider every year." And then she looked right at me and said, "Don't you see this at your school too?" Well, I'm not someone who enjoys confrontation or disagreeing with people, but it felt like an important moment to speak up. I took a deep breath and I said, "No, I actually don't see that. I don't think our students are ignorant or lazy or any more addicted to their devices than we are as adults." And I'm honestly a little uncomfortable with this conversation because I don't think the kids are the problem. Which of course ended the conversation completely. Oh well. I'm not sure if anyone at that table had their minds changed by that interaction, but something did shift for me. I realized that much of how traditional education operates is to pit students and teachers against one another, and it made me feel very grateful that I work at a school where that's not the case. Pine Valley School, the staff bear the responsibility for the safety and security of the students overall, but I'm free from having to try and maintain order in a classroom without the help of judicial committee, uploading knowledge to my students, and then having them download it again onto a test. And it's an enormous relief to be free from those constraints and to be able to relate to students as people with all their strengths and foibles, and for them to relate to me in the same way. I also see a significant part of my role as a staff member as mirroring back to the students one consistent message: you are enough. That doesn't necessarily mean that a person's behavior meets with the standards we've all agreed upon as a community, but it does mean that as a person, they are inherently good. That's not a message that I think children receive often enough, and definitely not from school. Before I came to Alpine Valley School, back when I was in mainstream education, I was a very good student. I did all my work, I completed my assignments on time, and I got good grades. I had teachers that were caring and patient, and teachers who were cranky and unkind. Regardless, though, of who was in front of the classroom, I believed that my worth as a person depended on my grades. The entire mainstream educational structure supported that belief. If I was a good student, then I was a good person. If I was a bad student, I was a bad person. Bad students were lazy and ignorant, and I didn't want to be those things, so I worked hard to maintain my grades. One day I got a D on a math test, and I spent the entire bus ride home in the grips of a sobbing panic attack. My identity, my essential sense of self, completely fell apart. At that point, my parents knew that something needed to change, and we found Alpine Valley School. After enrolling, I spent a lot of my first couple of weeks just following the adult staff members around, sort of low-key asking them to approve of me. I wanted those grades. I wanted my essential worth confirmed by what I perceived as the authority figures. And they refused to do it, the jerks. Instead, they told me to find things that I wanted to do, and encouraged me to get in touch with my essential sense of self that was beyond the grades and the performance. Every step of the way, they treated me as though I were competent, and slowly, I began to believe that I was. They gave me the gift of showing me that I was enough, no matter what I accomplished or not. Can't imagine the course my life would have taken without that knowledge. Now, as a staff member myself, I try to pay it forward. No matter how a student spends their time, playing Minecraft, drawing, doing math worksheets, they are capable, responsible, and worthy. There is no other lesson I know of with as much power as knowing that you are enough.